All right, cool. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Really excited to have Lee Robinson, who's the VP of DX for Cursor. Lee, thanks for joining us today, man.
Thank you for having me.
So Lee, I have been a longtime fan of your first off dev education, like DevRel, and back at Vercel, and then watching you kind of become like head of product, head of DX. You've made a recent career shift. So like, what's going on in your world? What's going on, man?
Yeah, after 5 years at Vercel, long time, especially in startup land.
Yes.
Recently wrapped up there, and I've been at Cursor for a few months now.
Well, congrats, and really congrats to Cursor. But yeah, I love it. Really quick, I know a lot of folks have been hearing Cursor, especially in recent AI news. But we got a lot of React devs, a lot of Android devs watching. Reintroduce Cursor to this crew.
Yeah, we're trying to build Cursor to be the best way to code with AI.
Okay.
And that changes every couple weeks at this point.
Yeah.
There's new models coming out, there's new product innovations coming out. So our goal is to stay on top of the latest developments all the time. And some people might have heard of Cursor maybe as it existed a year ago.
Okay.
It's changed quite a bit since then. There's kind of two parts of Cursor, I would say. One is what I would say most people have probably heard of, which is the tab model. So
Yes.
a traditional IDE, and you're writing code. And
You'll have VS Code or something like that.
yeah, and like you have the autocomplete, like GitHub Copilot kind of pioneered, right?
Yeah.
And that's super helpful. We invest a ton of energy in making the text autocompletion, the next action prediction, really high quality. So it's not only the next line, but you can auto-suggest imports or autocomplete to another file. We still want that to be extremely high quality. And we actually are able to update the results of that model about every 30 minutes. So
Wow.
based on how users accept or reject suggestions,
Wow.
we're continuously training the model that's being served there. So that's like what a lot of people know Cursor for. But then in the past year, we've seen this major shift to more people starting to learn about and adopt coding agents. And with the difference is with Tab, you're the driver and then AI is kind of your co-pilot, right? But with agents, it's kind of the other way around. Like you are steering the agent, but the agent is actually writing most of the code for you.
As I would a colleague, like asking a colleague I'm pairing with to go out and say
Yes.
something.
Yes. So over the past year, Cursor's been really building out our agent product to work with any model. So you can use OpenAI or Anthropic or Google or XAI or any model, and also make it available in wherever you work. So on the web, on mobile, in the editor, of course, but also you can tag it in Slack.
So practically, like, okay, I'm in Slack and I tag Cursor.
Yeah.
What's the look? What
Yeah.
would the interaction be like?
Yeah, the thing that I use it for all the time working on Cursor's docs is we have a stream of customer feedback coming in.
Okay.
And a customer will report, hey, this part of the docs is a little bit confusing. This thing didn't work. And in the thread, I just say at Cursor, let's add this to the docs, or at Cursor, can you fix this?
And it's empowered to like go in,
Yep.
do git changes.
Yeah, so what it does is it takes a snapshot of the code base, right? It starts a virtual machine and a container in the cloud, right? On AWS. Yep. And it takes that, it starts running the code, it makes the changes and runs the agent, and then it opens a PR. So you go to GitHub and I look at the integrations and I go view the preview and I
So
say,
there's still a human in the loop.
yeah.
Okay, so then you go in, you look at it, and then you can make a decision.
Yeah. I still do a code review.
Okay.
I make sure everything looks correct. We also can then run different checks on the PR. So we also, it's kind of meta, we have an AI code review. It's called BugBot that Cursor makes.
It's literally doing oh my gosh.
Yeah. So the AI reviews the AI's code, and it actually is super helpful.
That's amazing.
It's really funny. We had this tool called BugBot that does AI code reviews, and we had it internally for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And it was so helpful that we decided to actually turn it into a public product. And one time it found a bug that took down BugBot itself. And funnily enough, we like merged the PR. We're like, that's probably not right. And it was like, oh wait, it was actually right. Like that bug.
But like literally this is Skynet. Like it repaired itself.
It was like, no, don't do this. It's gonna take me down.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. What does Cursor look like in the context of a team building a product or service?
Yeah, so the main thing with teams is you have all of these business requirements and ways of working with a team that you're trying to encode into writing, essentially, and then give that to the coding agents. And Cursor has a few different features that make this easier. The first one is rules. So there's a concept in Cursor called rules that are essentially like all of your business requirements that you want to encode in every single conversation with the agent. So maybe this is, more information about how the app is built, or do this and never do that. You're giving these instructions very explicitly that not only do you want to include in every conversation, but you can share it across your team. Yeah, a good example is like if you're working with a coding agent and they get something wrong and you see it get something wrong a couple times, that's probably a good candidate for something you want to encode into a rule that says, don't do it like this, actually do it like this every other time. And then as you accumulate those over time, you're just getting better and better results working with the AI agents. So we see a lot of people on teams do that. The other one is being able to share plans across your team. So you want to build a new feature.
Oh, like spec or like a PRD or something like that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like you want to build a new feature. You're not sure exactly how you're going to build it, but you know you have the end goal in mind. So you go into Cursor and you go into plan mode and you say, I want to build a new left sidebar in my app. It's got these 3 things. Help me build it.
Yeah.
And you click enter. And the Cursor agent goes and kind of researches your code base. It goes and finds the relevant files. And it comes back to you with this nice markdown file that's like, here's what you should build. Here's the files that we need to update. Here's, some relevant code snippet.
A plan.
Yeah, it's like a full markdown plan.
Yeah.
And it even has kind of clarifying and follow-up questions like, do you want to do this or do you want to do that?
Okay.
And then when it's done, you get that markdown document, which you can store in the repo and share with your team. So you have these living artifacts that maybe could be in like a Google Doc in the past or, something like that. It's like you're encoding these in markdown in the repo.
All right. So in my world and for Amazon, like we really care about devs building great apps for devices. So like Fire TVs, for Alexa, if you build skills, our tablets, great. And a lot of times there's 2 different audiences. There's like your senior Android dev who already has an app on like Google Play or some app store somewhere, and they need to figure out, how do I get this app to go from a mobile app to work on TV? So remote control, not a ton of memory. So there's some like things you need to learn about performance optimization. Our docs give a lot of content, but there's like a learning research thing. And then the totally different spectrum is a different user persona, which is a React web developer who is trying to like make that transition to React Native. And so they maybe don't know like how to test on devices or simulators. So for those 2 different audiences, how can Cursor help each of them specifically build better quality apps, or maybe introduce not a new app, but like a new features or new capabilities to existing apps?
Yeah, I love this example because most code bases where people are trying to apply AI are like this. They're not necessarily greenfield apps.
Right.
They're not building something from scratch.
Yeah.
So you go into this massive code base, especially if you're somebody new, an unfamiliar code base, and you're trying to contribute and add features, sometimes pretty, large features like refactoring to a different platform. And you're trying to break down this, elephant into smaller pieces.
And management, performance, optimization, UI, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I honestly, I think one of the biggest bottlenecks is at first you don't know the right questions to ask.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially with a really complicated code base, you usually have a team of people where you have to like get the contextual knowledge from. Like, okay, why does this service exist? And do you have any internal docs that show like the architecture diagram so I can make sense of how this thing works? And AI is a huge accelerant here.
Okay.
It's different than when people think of coding with AI, where they're saying the AI is gonna write a bunch of code for me. In this example, it's basically like your thought partner and your researcher.
Yeah.
Because you're just
in scope the problem statement.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like you're working with the AI who has access to all the same files and docs that you do
Yeah.
to go help you figure out what needs to be built.